Fans of Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie have long debated which of these two classic shows was better. It's likely you might have your own opinions already as to which series came on top, but we have a few insights we'd like to share that just might shift your thinking. Join Facts First as we discuss Bewitched versus I Dream of Jeannie. Which sitcom wins? Two similar premises, two distinct offerings. Bewitched aired on ABC from 1964 to 72. The series starred Elizabeth Montgomery as the witch Samantha. After falling in love with a mortal named Darrin Stevens, played first by Dick York and later by Dick Sargent, the two wed and began their lives together as husband and wife. It was during their honeymoon that Samantha revealed to Darrin what she truly was. While he was first quite stunned, he recognized she was still the same woman he'd fallen in love with. For the remainder of the series, Darrin was forced to contend with the craziness of living with a wife who has an extremely eccentric magical family. He routinely insisted he wanted to live like regular mortals, but unfortunately this was just a pipe dream. Over at ABC's rival network, NBC, I Dream of Jeannie premiered in 1965, a year after Bewitched's debut, and ran until 1970. It's undeniable that Bewitched was a significant inspiration for the series, but the show was also based upon a Tony Randall film called The Brass Bottle. In I Dream of Jeannie, Larry Hagman, who you might recall later played J.R. Ewing on Dallas, played astronaut Tony Nelson. After his space capsule landed on a deserted island, Nelson discovered a dusty bottle. While attempting to clean it up a bit, the bottle unleashed a thick cloud of smoke that congealed into the form of Barbara Eden's character, Jeannie. After being freed from the bottle she had spent the previous 2 millennia stuck in, Jeannie offered herself in servitude to Tony. Being the gentleman he always aspired to be, Nelson rejected this offer after Jeannie magically arranged for their rescue. Tony offered to set Jeannie free, but she instead slipped back into her bottle and stowed away in his backpack as he made his way home back to Cocoa Beach, Florida. Naturally, after the dust settled, Jeannie revealed herself, and what followed was years of whimsical comedic chaos. Before we tell you more, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Who had the better means of channeling their magic? Samantha from Bewitched had two distinct ways of summoning her magic. She would typically either raise both of her arms and speak an incantation, which normally involves some kind of Dr. Seussian limerick, or more commonly, she would simply twitch her nose and make things happen without uttering a single word. On I Dream of Jeannie, our lead protagonist, Jeannie, would fold her arms over each other and blink to get things done. In our opinion, Samantha had the superior magical powers. Even if she were to, God forbid, lose her arms in some sort of accident, she could still do her nose twitch trick to make things happen. On the flip side of the coin, if Jeannie were to lose her arms, or even if she were to be blindfolded, she wouldn't be able to do a thing. Even though the odds of these happenings are quite slim, it's still a hypothetical situation that highlights who objectively had the superior powers. Who had the better job, Tony or Darrin? Unfortunately, this one is pretty much a given. Samantha's husband, Darrin, worked in advertising with a fairly typical desk job. While that career path is certainly admirable, it doesn't hold a candle to the innate coolness of Tony Nelson's job as an astronaut. Sure, Darrin was respectable. Everything he set out to do, he approached with virtue. He was a straight shooter who got things done and brought integrity to every campaign he helped develop. But how can that compare to being an astronaut? In the 60s, every kid wanted to grow up to be like Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong. Who had the most meddling boss? Tony Nelson had quite a few superiors he had to answer to at NASA, but the biggest workplace foe he had to contend with was the agency's resident psychiatrist, Dr. Alfred Bellows, played by the late Hayden Rourke. Bellows always suspected something was off about Tony, but every time one of his theories was disproven, he was forced back to the drawing board. Over on Bewitched, Darrin's boss at the advertising agency was a man named Larry Tate, played by David White. Larry was always oblivious to Darrin's magical personal life, but in one alternate reality episode, we did get to see what would happen if he found out about Darrin and Samantha's secret. In the episode, Larry witnessed Samantha using her magic. Instead of getting upset or running away, Larry revealed to Darrin that with that kind of power, they could take over the world. This was something he apparently had been dreaming of since he was a kid. In this category, we have to say I Dream of Jeannie takes the cake. We only ever got to see Larry's dark desires one time, but Alfred Bellows' meddling ways proved to be a thorn in Tony Nelson's side throughout the entire show. Which couple had the better relationship? With most sitcoms, the audience ends up growing bored and losing interest after the two leads end up as a couple. But with Bewitched, we got immediately filled in at the outset of the series about how Samantha and Darrin met and ended up marrying each other. There was no guessing whether or not they would end up together because they already were together. The rest of the show's emphasis was on them trying to live a normal life together. Over on I Dream of Jeannie, it was revealed that Tony was engaged to someone else in the first episode, but after finding Jeannie in her bottle on the beach and inadvertently bringing her home with him, that pretty much put an end to his engagement. In the early seasons of the show, Tony put up with Jeannie while she was madly devoted to him. Throughout their journey together, Jeannie continued to complicate Tony's life with her magic. She tried to make life easier, but rarely did her actions accomplish this. Through trials and tribulations over the course of the series, Tony realized how much he loved her. By the final season, the two got married. This shifted the dynamic away from Tony being afraid of people seeing Jeannie to him trying to prevent them from witnessing her magical powers. In this category, Bewitched comes out on top as the clear winner. For one thing, I Dream of Jeannie loses a few points for just how many times Jeannie referred to Tony as master. This particular element of the series hasn't aged well. Also, Tony was always kind of a jerk to Jeannie. He spent most of his time merely trying to put up with her, while Darrin and Samantha had a loving, albeit non-traditional, and frequently challenging relationship. There was never a question about whether Darrin loved his wife. Which show had the better animated intro? In the early episodes of I Dream of Jeannie, the show opened with a dash of narration and several clips highlighting events from previous episodes. It didn't take long, however, for the show to feature a cartoon opening sequence. Bewitched featured a similar animated intro right out of the gate. Fortunately, both cartoon openings are equally charming, so we give a point to both. At the end of the day, which show is superior really comes down to personal taste. If you were keeping score, Bewitched earned more points in our brief assessment, but even so, it's difficult for us to say which one we like better. Now it's time to hear from you. Which series do you like better? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content. By the way, if you haven't joined Facts First as a member yet, be sure to look below this video and click the join button. By becoming a paid member of Facts First, you'll get access to exclusive video content that you won't find anywhere else. This includes some of our more mature content that isn't suitable for public audiences, which includes topics like Hollywood actresses who posed for Playboy and some of the steamiest moments in movie history. Plus, you can enjoy these videos completely ad-free. Our biggest fans will notice they also get badges next to their name when they leave comments on our videos. We pay special attention to comments from our members, and so do other viewers. So if you want exclusive content from Facts First or inside access to discussions with other community members, click the join button to get started for just $4.99. There are hours of members-only videos waiting for you, with new videos added every month. And we're actively working on bringing even more features to help fans like you connect with other members and get more of your favorite content. Just click join, and we'll see you inside the membership tab.